You don't know, you know. Ishmael is the most difficult because they are the only one of our enemies that comes with a spiritual power. They are a child of Abraham. They have a koach of prayer. They have a merit of brit milah, again, which goes back to Abraham. There is a tznius. Because they have these merits, they can pray, and there's a certain power in their prayer. A certain power. And the reason why the Golos is so difficult is that we have to counter it with a spiritual power that is greater than their spiritual. There is no logical way of stopping people who are willing to die for their cause. But when you have people who don't care if they die, then how are you going to stop them? There's nothing you can do. So that Golos Yishmael is impossible to defeat by conventional military means. The dilemma is we need spiritual ways of defeating them. Ishmael is the
All right, Shalom. First of all, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters out there, unto thy foreigners, from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. As you can clearly hear, what this will be nice. This broad hat wearer makes a statement of the fear of Ishmael. This is why they have what's the word I'm looking for? They're obsessed to go after Iran. All right, there is regional is regional control, obviously, and they deem Ishmael as the greatest threat. This is why when you go into that letter from Albert Pike to Giuseppe Mazzini, and he stated out all the world wars. This is before any world war took place, but the Third World War was going to take place between Christians and, well, supposed to be Zionists versus Ishmael or Muslims, right? But they changed it to Christians and so forth. So what they was basically saying, what we've seen right now at this moment, at any moment now, for the next couple of days or a week or so, the great wet dream is going to come true, and they can go on to Iran. But they know that Iran is going to be a big threat to them. Okay, why Iran is the centerpiece of it all? Because that's the hub. That's going to be the uniter of the Middle East. That's where it is a make or break situation with them. Ultimately, they want to wipe them out. But like he said, how are you going to wipe out something that they don't mind dying for? And then they got the nerve to say that they need spiritual power when they themselves have a form of spiritual power in the sense of what? The technology. So while everybody's playing games, these mother effers they've been on war mode. All right. They've been on that tip. Real couple scriptures real quick. I find that very fascinating that he would make a statement like that. Revelation 6:4. It says, and they went out another horse that was red, and power was given unto him. That horse that was red, that was given unto him, when you read Genesis the 25th chapter, it tells you that's a representation of Esau. Esau is the red horse. All right, he wasn't just born like that way for no reason. He was born that way, and that power that was given unto him was the blessing. Genesis 27:38. He was blessed with the what? With the sword. So if someone is blessed with the sword, what are they gonna do? They live by the sword. I went through it yesterday. What's it? The law of strength. All right. This is what Esau truly believed. The law of strength. So despite what that individual said, I'm gonna try to be nice. No matter what the individual try to say that they need spiritual power, they have a form of spiritual power right now, and it's part of their blessing. All right. This is all part of his blessing. And here it is. These people got everything that they want, yet they still want power. They still want more power. All right. And it says that's why they don't see blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans as a threat. He did in his mind is Ishmael is the only one that's in his way to get the world. They don't see us as nothing, which is good. We because we don't have no standing army. We're under their rule. Whatever they had said, that's what we're under. But the Lord is the controversy of Zion. The Lord is going to show the world who always been his people. Okay? It says, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And it was given to him a great sword. What that great sword is ICBM nuclear missiles. This is what they fear. That's why if Iran had a nuclear weapon. But you could clearly see that any nation that's dealing with Esau would have to protect themselves. All right. Revelations 20. I'm going to go to the point at 8. It says, and they shall go to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, which is talking about Esau going around deceiving the world. Part of the deception that they are the Lord's chosen people. And that is a great deception. The Spirit had it where, which, you know what, I'm going to have to get it too. Just to add to this in particular thing. It says, the four quarters of the earth, north, west, south, east, Gog and Magog, which is Russia. All right, Russia today, that land of Russia, to gather them together. And what are they gathering for? That great war. If when the United States of America and Israel attack Iran, Iran's allies are going to join the fray in the war, which is China, Russia, North Korea, and so forth. All right, this is the great gathering right now. To the battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So that those, which is going to be a numerous amount of armies. All right. Now, when you go into this, is what I really want to focus on. Amazing. Everything's coming out on these devils. All right. What is this? Second Ezra 15. Second Ezra 15 and I start at 29. No, 28. Behold, a horrible vision. The appearance thereof from the east. Who's in the east? Ishmael. All right. Ishmael. It says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia. Arabia means mixture. So you have Elam, you got Elam in the Middle East, you got Ishmael, all right? You got all those nations, and they all under what banner? They're Muslims, right? Shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So there's going to be a galvanating point in the Middle East. And like, oh, my favorite scripture, I won't keep saying it because you could clearly see the plot. Like a good film, like a great movie, you can clearly see what the Lord is doing. Jeremiah 50 and 24, it says, I have laid a snare for thee, thou art also taken. Because if you go and attack Iran, right? The military right now in the Middle East mainly the Gulf area. The Navy, a whole bunch of Navy ships with huge carriers and the fleets that's behind them. So each carrier group, which is the carrier, the destroyers, what's it called? The amphibious ships. I think they got rid of the frigates. Destroyers. There's another one I'm thinking of, and they got my damn, I forgot the name of the shit. Smaller than a frigate. Don't ask me how I know. But all those key points, I believe they said the U.S. Lincoln doesn't need to refuel for like 3 years. So that means that the people that's in there, they will never have to dock. Period. So this is Esau's mighty military of the sea, which brings in the Marines, the Army, and so forth when they invade a land. Right? They sent first is the Air Force, they're bomb. After the Air Force bomb, they'll send the Marines. Well, before they do that, they send the CIA first. Then they send the Marines. Once they send the Marines, they take areas. Then when they set up shop, then the Army. Once the Army touch down, then they go in. All the branches that are there, they're planning strategically and so forth. But what they fail to understand, even though that's been the same formula forever, everything that they're doing now is going to come with a cost. This is not going to be what they did into Venezuela or what they did in Iraq. And no. This is going to be a fight to the death. All right. But the thing is, they struck first. All right. So if you strike first, that means you the aggressor. There's a video that circulated in the chat with brothers, and one of the brothers put up a video. I didn't even really watch all of it. I just seen the beginning of it, and it was about Vietnam and how they had their traps, right? And automatically, after truly understanding where those people was coming from, the Vietnamese had every right to defend themselves. They seen America as an invading force that had no part of that region at all. So the traps that they had for guerrilla warfare was justified. They had traps where people fall in and you get caught. Yo, rod is gonna be cut off. You're gonna die gruesome deaths. And every movie that you watch and it's like they were cowards and we gotta understand America was that evading force. So they were the aggressor. America has lost a lot of fucking wars being the aggressor. The only time in history where it seemed like they was winning is when somebody attacked them. So I say this to say that the Lord set this place up. Was being led, the scripture says that the least of the flock should drag them out. To draw them out, drag them, sing. The small hatters, that welfare state is drawing America to that land. They already set up shop, and they believe in their mind they're gonna win. But you heard the characteristics of Ishmael. Ishmael's not no slouch. All right. Ishmael's not something that you could easily just destroy, because if they could, they would have done it long ago. They're having a hard time right now because why the Lord is putting the spirit on these nations to fight. All right. The scripture says, wake up the mighty men, right? Joel the third chapter. So their warrior type spirit is reunited is being ignited because of what's going on. All right. All nations on the planet Earth have a warrior type spirit. Even pussified Esau, okay, and how they do the things. But what they fail to understand, with all these enemies, the Lord has set you up. There's no getting out of this situation. They're following these people that's not helping at all, but want all the assistance that under the sun is going to lead America to its own demise and its own destruction. Okay, it says, "I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware." So, despite they may have every strategic probability, spirits are telling them to do this, you see the outcome. They're unaware of that. This is what will end their demise. Okay, too many enemies has risen up out of the ranks. With this much enemy around the world, you're not gonna win. And the best part about it, the Lord has raised up other Edomites in the form of the Russians to protect Ishmael from you. Okay? And their bond is unbreakable, which goes into Ezekiel 38th chapter. All right? That there should be a guard unto them. Let me read on. It says, and also caught, thou art found also caught because thou hast striven against the Lord. So they they have striven against the Lord, meaning they've been fighting against the Lord. The Lord is not with those people over there at all. Just I said this, I want to get this real quick. Ezekiel 38. I just read 2 on down. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, which chief prince Russia, Meshech, Moscow, and Tubal, I believe it's something else, and prophesied against it. Apostle Tahar broke down Russia. The Russia means Ra'ash Shar. Shar means prince. Ra'ash, the heading or chief. Meshech, Moscow. I mean, you can't make that man is a prophet. All right, and I forgot what Tubal means. It says, and prophesied against him, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I'm against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. So the Lord is against Russia, yet he's going to use Russia as a stabilizer. All right. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy armies, so all thy army and horses and horsemen of them clothed with sorts of armory, even a great company with bucklers, shields, all of them. So all of them handling swords. So a great army is being formed right now. All right, the Ukrainian army, the Ukrainian war, Slovakia, the Ukrainian war has gotten Russia to bleed out. To revive that war type spirit. So the Lord is going to use Edomites to stir up to fight other Edomites, because there's no, even though Ishmael are mighty in a sense, they're not equal to Esau because we're in the time of Esau's blessing. Verse 5, Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, Lebanon, and with them, all of them with shields and helmets, Gomor and all of his bands, in the house of Togama of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. So, and it says, but thou be prepared, and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So the Lord commanded Russia, all right, Soviet Union, to be a guard unto these nations. So they will jump into the fray. But Ishmael, that revived spirit, is not there. They are going to remember themselves, like the scriptures. I'm going to get that real quick. It says, 2 Ezra 15 and 30. Also, the Carmenians, which when you go into the history, the Persians also changed their name to Carmenians. Carmenians, and the what's it called? Parthians. Also, so they always Iran always been a thorn in the side for the Middle East, but it's always been the beacon. All right. It says the Carmenians raging in wrath shall go forth as a wild boars of the wood. They wild, and a great power shall they come and join battle with them, and they shall waste portion of the land of Assyria. And then shall the dragon have the upper hand. Remember their nature, and that's the key. Once they start attacking Iran to that point, that's gonna the entire Middle East is gonna be on fire. In other words, they're gonna revive. They're gonna go back to their natural selves. What do you do with a people that's willing to kill themselves to make a point? They're not killing themselves just to terror the way we was taught. So people do go to that extreme. That means that they're powerless, and that's the only result they can do. So have the greatest portion, the greatest power. All right, that wasn't just random. That these people been doing this suicide or bombing. Hey, even the Japanese during World War II, they'll call. I forgot the. Why can I remember right now? It's the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. But there was a form of suicide bombing that they were doing. All right, because to them that was honor. But Ishmael does the same thing, and Ishmael does it because in their religion, they believe that if they do that, they'll get what is it, 72 virgins or some shit like that. Which that's why would you have to die to get virgins anyway? But that was something that was being pushed out there. So in their mind, all right, they're ready to go. But everybody over there is not the same. But when they see that place get attacked, oh my goodness, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Especially if they have not done nothing to this place. Okay? It says, if they and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in a great power to persecute them. So they're gonna conspire, meaning with breath, with the other Ishmaelites, all right, and Elamites, and so forth. Because what's binding Ishmael, Elam, and the Middle East, the religion of Islam, all right. Islam is binding these people together. So they're gonna take shit to the extreme. because they're gonna have nothing left. So, like that's the trap is set. You Edomites are stupid, and y'all about to go over there and meet your demise. Okay, and the average American, they're not willing to die for something that they don't believe in. They're not, and which makes sense, right? If you don't believe the shit that you're being told, you're doing this for a paycheck, and you're not going to do anything. But for Americans or American soldier, what do you have? As soon as you come back after the war is done, your own society is gonna forget about your services. They're gonna treat you like shit. Okay. Um, if you're a man, your whole thing is to create a family, which right now it's is a dying practice, which is part of life. Okay, the women don't respect you. Shit, if you get married while you're in the military and you go out to um, for deployment, somebody else is taking care of your woman for you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. When you come back to the states, you get no respect whatsoever. So there's nothing really for people to live and die for in Babylon. But Ishmael, in other words, they believe what they convinced they convicted in what they believe, and they're willing to die for it. That's what those small hatters are afraid of. All right, that's what. And what's funny about it, they claim to be the people of the scriptures. And if you know the history of Israel, Israelites were willing to die for the Lord. So why can he say, "Oh, we're willing to go too"? Why? Because they know that they're not the people of the Lord. All they are is a bunch of usurpers. Okay, and they got away taking out the real Israelites for all these years. But what they felt, all the Lord is doing, this is why we having a world war, is stirring up the pot. And the Lord had you go around making enemies of everybody to bring in a new world order. And you may have the leadership of most of these nations, but the people of those nations, they most likely will take out their leaders because that's not their intent. Human nature is to survive. Less confident, I mean, conflicts, but survive. But Esau, he's bloodthirsty. He's like the scripture says, he loves blood. All right. So him being who he is, this is why the Lord has stirring up the pot. He's stirring up these nations. It says, verse 33. Matter of fact, hold on. 32. These shall be troubled. Sorry. Then these shall be terrible, terribly bled, and keep silence through their power, and flee. And from the land of Assyria shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them. In their hosts they shall be afraid, there shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east, from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. And they shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of the stars upon the earth, even their own star. And the blood shall be for the sword into their belly. And you could clearly see what's going to happen. That's the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right. Yahweh Shaphat. This is all stirring up to that great battle with the scriptures talk about Armageddon, which is mountain of troops. Revelation 16 and 16. Oh, 16 and 15. See, it's all good when the rabbit, no, sorry, when the hunter has the gun. But when the rabbit has the gun, then and they have a gun, then there's a problem. All right. That's why they're trying their damnedest best to disarm and decapitate these nations, mainly Iran, to the point where how they did Iraq and all these other nations, and they're not having it. The Lord is not going to have it where they're just going to attack Iran and just get away with the shit and completely take over. Nah, this is going to become like a, I would say, an endless war, but it is going to end, and we all know how it's going to end. It says Jeremiah 16:16, and he gathered them together into the place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So that great gathering, which Armageddon, I said Armageddon, Armageddon, which means Armageddon means mountain of troops. So they're gonna come from the south, from the north, from the east, from the west, all coming in that great final battle. And this is what's gonna happen. Verse 17. And the seventh angel poured out his vial in the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done." So that great vow that's going to take place, that is going to pour by the angel, is talking about those missiles. It might be when it's going to be at the heat of the battle. All right, it might be a stalemate. They all been, several battles going back and forth. It's going to be a stalemate. They're going to have one final. You know what? All hands on deck. We got to go back to the old way. You know, we can't use drones. We can't use robots. Now we just got to do this the old-fashioned way. And simultaneously, on this side of the world, people are going to be chipped. All right. Then they're going to come after the last ones that probably not getting chipped. And then what's going to end up in this scenario back in the Middle East, the Lord is going to appear when all the armies coming together, getting ready to fight each other. The Lord is going to appear. He's going to be seen, and they're going to be shocked. They're going to look like, oh shit, this is he. All right. And like the scripture says, they're going to be in great fear. But there's fight because the Lord's going to put that spirit in them to fight. Why waste all those bodies? Why waste that energy that you had towards one another? Bring it to the Lord, and the Lord is going to wipe them out. After he's done with them, he's going to come to this side of the world to deliver and destroy. All right, deliver the elect and destroy the rest. And this place is going to be a fucking desert. That's how it's going to end. So with that being said, hey, the greatest fear is here. And the worst type of person to fight is the ones that's convinced in their mind they're fighting for their life. And then when they'll put their lives on the line. And trust, the true biblical Israelites are going to get that spirit. It's going to be a very hard time for Esau. Okay? Hey, the scripture says that, let me get that. Get that. Job, actually it's 18. 18 and 7. It said, the steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel should cast him down. So his steps, everything that he's doing, is going to be straightened, meaning it's going to be difficult. This is not going to be an easy task. They could sell it to the blue in their face. The 12-year war, 12-day war, this, that, how they took down Maduro and all this shit, they building themselves up. When nations are start to fight back, it's gonna be hard. Hey, when people start to fight back, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a hard time coming for Esau. All right. So with that being said, shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.